Hi tappers! Today we are going to talk about tapping with telekinesis. No, really, it's a clinically studied viable technique. It's imagining tapping. Now we're going to talk about why this works, why we would use it, and a few situations where this could be easily applied. So first, let's clearly define what this is. Imagining tapping is when you engage in a tapping frame of mind and sequence, but instead of physically tapping, you concentrate and imagine the tapping instead. Now this may seem silly at first, but I promise you there are great places to apply this technique. But before that, let's talk about the science of why it works. We actually have discussed this a bit before. The reason this can be effective is tied into the same reason why watching someone else have a tapping session can be beneficial for the watcher. Mirror neurons. Now, mirror neurons are these super cool neurons in your brain that fire as if they are physically engaging the body when your sensory organs are inputting information having to do with activating the body, even if your body isn't activated. So an example would be watching the Olympics. You may have never competed in such a way, but your body recognizes the running, the jumping, and the swimming, and so on. And if you have some experience in one of these sports, that enlarges the spectrum of networks that your body has to fire and light up as you watch someone else engage in those same sequences that you have done before. If you want to do your own test of this, take your pulse after doing a relaxing, immersive activity. Then turn on a video of a physical activity that you're familiar with and watch it for 2 minutes. Really focus in on it. See their muscles moving. Imagine with them what it feels like to put that much power into what they're doing. Feel their drive as if it is your own. After 2 minutes, take your pulse again. I'm betting you will see a physical response has occurred. This is due to mirror neurons. An important caveat here is your amount of focus. It's highly important for you to be very invested in doing everything you can to convince all of your senses that this activity is occurring on and for your body right now. So depending on your ability to focus and creatively think, this technique might have a bit of a learning curve for you to craft your skill. So to take this back to tapping then, it's most helpful for this when you have tapped before and your body is highly familiar with what that feels like, and you can get into a laser-focused mindset of imagining tapping. So when is this technique worth all of this effort? One obvious answer jumps to my mind, and that's anytime you can't physically tap. Maybe you're simply uncomfortable of drawing that attention to yourself, or it would be inappropriate, such as during some sort of ceremony or proceeding. One way Dawson uses this technique and recommends it to others is if he wakes up in the middle of the night and then he's concentrating on going back to sleep. So this space isn't inappropriate for him to physically tap, but he doesn't want to move his arms or have that physical stimulation of tapping, as for him, that would wake him up further. So he imagines tapping, and for him, it works beautifully. Another situation where I engage this is when I feel like I pretty much want to bomb all of my tapping points at once. I only have 2 hands. I'm creative and I can use a foot and multiple fingers to assist as well, but that's still not all the points and it gets complicated to engage. Rather, I imagine other hands, sometimes dozens of hands, and they surround me and they all tap simultaneously on dozens of acupoints at the same time. And whoo, does that feel powerful for me? I love that visual. And it can zap a spiraling, limiting belief for me immediately. You can also use it if you're working on deeper memory work where you're tapping for a younger version of yourself and you're doing some energy psychology work where it's present you with younger you interacting to help heal an event from the past. So imagining tapping with your younger self can be very powerful. It is also a solution for a living being whom tapping doesn't feel good, like potentially a child or a disabled person or even your pets. Now, there have been many scientific studies proving that a strong mental intention does indeed create an actual wave of energy that can be measured, and that people who have honed the skill of doing healing work through their hands have measurable energy waves coming out of their hands. Now, these findings can be applied to your efforts in doing Imagine tapping on yourself, as well as on others within your reach. Let me know if you try it and how it works for you. I will see you soon.